Well, hey, happy Labor Day weekend. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful weekend. A beautiful weekend for making salsa. So I want to take you along as we're getting ready to start that whole process. So let's do it. Alright, so we're headed to the garden to get some more tomatoes and stuff for the salsa to add to the batch that we already have at home. Fun times. Chad, what do you think? Do you have anything to say about this? Alright, so we're at the garden getting ready to pick tomatoes, and we've already picked a Whopper, another Dallas Wilson Cuban, which I'm going to have to weigh because this thing is pretty massive. Okay, as big as my head. Awesome. Alright, not a bad haul so far. There's a lot of reds. We got a lot of nice slicers. Meaty tomatoes there. Sister's got a whole nother basket load there. Yeah, tomatoes are in downhill slide. A lot of them got the, blighted and whatever, but a lot of the fruit's starting to ripen. So we're gonna keep picking. We should have plenty enough to make some sauce and salsa with what we've got at home too. All right, so we're done harvesting this load. So we got a pretty big box of tomatoes here, another little box there, curtain there, and then we got another gallon of cherry tomatoes, some bell peppers, watermelon. Pretty good little. Ready to get some lunch? I don't know. Let's figure it out.
No.
Alright, so we're in the midst of processing everything. We just processed a gallon of cherry tomatoes that are now in the food dehydrator. We've been through about 6 of those and running them through. I've got a big vat, stoneware pot full of sauce. We're running the skins through. Hey, bud. We're going to save that for seeds and eating, so we're not going to process that with those, okay? Well, we're running the skins through again to extract the rest of the juice and the pulp that didn't get taken out or stripped through on the first pass through this. And we'll have that. Then I've got a whole nother tray of slicers, a heaping mound that we're going to blanch and then quarter and dice up. That's going to be part of the salsa. And we'll use some of this sauce that we're going to get out of the rest of this batch here for the salsa as well. And then we're going to cook all this stuff down and can it. So we'll get a start on that tonight and probably finish it up tomorrow. We'll have it all put up, and then we'll have the rest of the Labor Day weekend here to kind of rest. At least that's the plan. So we'll finish running this through, and then we'll start in on the salsa prep. Alright, so it's been a little bit of a long day and it's not over yet. Let me show you where we're at and things. So we got a good chunk of the tomatoes processed. I've got the start of my salsa batch here, and what this is basically enough tomatoes to fill this big vat. And half of them are big slicers that we just peeled and ran through the Vitamix to kind of get them chopped up. And then the rest were run through the tomato mill. It's like sauce, so it's a pretty good consistency. So threw all those tomatoes in, all different kinds, and then we put about 4 cups of lime juice mixed with 2 bunches of cilantro that, again, I kind of blended up in the Vitamix. So that's what's in here now. And here we're working on something else. This is going to be tomato sauce. This is our second largest stoneware pot. It's filled. This is going to cook down for several hours tonight and probably some more tomorrow. We got some jalapenos, and I've got some that we picked from the garden as well that we're going to be chopping up in our little KitchenAid chopper. This works like a charm. I've got, I think about 6 onions there, 6 or 7 onions. Got them cut in half. Let's put them in the chopper here and come straight down. And we'll get our chopped onions. So that's what I'm doing now. Once I get these chopped up, we're going to saute them in this cast iron skillet with some olive oil. Get that going along with probably a cup of chopped garlic. I'll probably do it in smaller batches, like a half cup of chopped garlic and about half these onions. Saute them down, throw it in our mixture there. Repeat, do that again. Then we'll get our jalapenos in there to get our heat. And then we'll start cooking this down. Now, I had a special request at work. One of my coworkers wanted really hot or spicy salsa. So I'm going to do most of it the regular way, and then as we are process and do a smaller batch that's going to be spicy. I'm going to put some I'll show you what I'll put in it. So what I'm going to put in it is our hot pepper mix. It's got all kinds of hot peppers ground up. It's going to be the secret powder that goes in to make it spicy. So let's get chopping. Love this thing. You do want to cut, make sure that it's centered down, because I busted one of these things where it shaved a little bit, where I had it a little off center, and so you want to make sure you come straight down. Nothing like sautéed onions. Yum, yum. We're going to mix some garlic in with this. It's about a cup of minced garlic here. Well, what we want to do is caramelize these onions a little bit. It gives the salsa a little bit better flavor, I think, anyway. Alright, so those onions and that garlic mixture, that's about ready. The onions are starting to get translucent there. So we're going to go ahead and transfer these to our pot and then cook up another batch, and then we'll start in on our hot peppers as far as chopping them up. Alright, so while our onions and garlic are sauteing the second batch, we've got our jalapenos all chopped up. Now the jalapenos, you can sub in whatever peppers you want, and you do it to your preference. Given the batch I've got probably 10 jalapenos we're going to be throwing in there. And initially they'll be kind of hot, but as you cook them down, they lose some of their heat. Should be just about right. So we're going to go ahead and chop those up using the KitchenAid implement, and then we'll throw that into our batch. Stir that up pretty good, and we'll go from there. I went ahead and cut these in half. The other thing you can do, if you don't want it so hot, or you want to adjust the heat, you can take the seeds, you can strip the cores out of these peppers. Like if you like the jalapeno taste but not the heat, you can go that route. Beautiful. Alright, so we dumped our sauteed onions and garlic. We're going to mix that into our batch. It's going to make that yummy. And we got our jalapenos. We're going to go ahead and throw all of that in there. Mix that in. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to ladle out some of that. We'll season it to taste and try it out before I start cooking it down. Alright, so for the seasoning, nothing super special. I've got chili powder, ground cumin, some kosher salt. So what we're going to do is start with the chili powder. Doesn't need a whole lot. Cumin. Sprinkle some salt in there. What I'll do is mix that around and we'll get a chip and try this stuff out. Alright, Emma, you ready to try the salsa?
Yeah.
It's right here. I seasoned that batch.
Is this a really spicy kind that you made?
It's got a fair amount of kick.
With the red chili powder in it?
Well, I put a little bit of chili powder, not much.
That's good.
You like it?
Yeah. It's not super spicy. I'll have to give it.
Does it have enough kick? Get some of that jalapeno on there. See what you think.
That's spicier.
Yeah, that does give it a little bit more kick.
A little bit.
So anyway, our next step is we are going to bring this to a boil, cook it a little while till its desired consistency, and then we will we'll can it. So so I guess that's it for now. Until next time. Happy gardening. Bye. All right, so it's day 2. We got the sauce and stuff cooked down, and now we're cooking down the salsa. Big old vat of that. I'll probably get 12 to 15 pints out of this once it's cooked down. Ruth is sampling. What do you think, John? Is it good? We took some of the fresh stuff out, seasoned it with some cumin and salt. Didn't put any chili powder in it this time. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
This is our tomato sauce. I'm seasoning that with a little bit of salt and some pepper. Let's go outside and check that out. So we got a little outdoor canner setup going. I've got 10 quarts of tomato sauce in the water bath canner here. And that will stay in there for probably 45 minutes or so, just to be on the safe side. We'll pull that out, let it cool off in the house. Hopefully everything will seal and we'll be good to go there. Then hopefully we'll have the salsa cooked down later this evening, and we may go ahead and can that at that point, or I may go ahead and just let it ride, and then we'll can it tomorrow morning or something like that, just depending on how the time goes. So yeah, excited. See how it goes. All right, so it's like 11 o'clock p.m. Sunday night. The salsa's been cooking down for probably at least 5 hours, 6 hours on low, because I don't want to burn it, but just like a slow boil to kind of thicken it up a little bit. So let's take a look at it. So at this point, we've got it to the desired consistency. It's time to season it. So what we're going to do, and I've already added just a little bit of salt, and it wasn't enough, so I'm just going to add a little bit more to taste. If you add too much salt, you can always add a little more water, or you can add sugar to help balance it out. Just mix that in real good. We'll go ahead and sample. Now that's about right. We don't want to over salt it, because the other thing is a lot of people, when they're eating salsa, they're going to be eating it with chips that already have salt on them. So it's going to give it a little more saltiness. So we don't want to over salt it. It's got a good little zing. The other thing we want to add to it is a little bit of ground cumin. If we want to kick it up a notch as far as heat, we would add some chili powder. But I think in this case the cumin is good enough. The jalapenos kind of cooked out. It's got a nice, even heat to it. So we're going to add the cumin now. Alright, so I've got probably about 3 teaspoons of ground cumin, and we're just going to dump that in there. It's going to give it a little bit richer flavor. Mix that around pretty good. The other thing too, I let this warm or cool off enough to where you can actually taste the seasoning. If I added this when it was boiling hot, it's really not the ideal time to season because you can't really taste. You can be kind of distracted by the heat. So I'm going to go ahead and grab another sample out. And that is about perfect. So our next step is we're going to, we're just going to leave this out. It'll still be warm tomorrow morning, and then we'll sample it again tomorrow just to make sure, and then we'll can it, and then some of it I will spice up a little bit, and we'll go from there. Alright, so it's day 3 of our salsa making adventure, and it looks like I'm probably going to get 15 pints. We're sterilizing jars and lids, so I just got some water that just recently boiled. Just leave that jar in there for a little bit. We're going to fill that up, and then I'll put in the rings and the lids, soften up the seals on these lids, and then we'll go ahead and put the lids and the rings on all these jars. Let's see if we can get 15 pints real quick. Alright, so we got right at 15 pints. That is awesome. Actually, recounting these, we actually have 16 pints of salsa there. My son figured that out. I thought the capacity of this was just 15, but there it can actually hold 16.
There's 10 around and 5. No, there's 11 around and 5 in the middle.
Yeah, that's awesome. Look at that. So now we're going to get our water started outside, and then we'll also be sanitizing the lids and the rings, and then sealing the jars. Now, because there's a fair amount of lime juice as part of this recipe, there's no need to put like lemon juice or lime, but normally if you were doing just straight tomato sauce, you would need to add some lime juice, something in there to just as a preventative, so that the sauce doesn't go bad. So let's get the turkey burner started. Now, before I put any like lids and rings on, I take a paper towel, wet paper towel, and I go over the rims of all these jars just to make sure there isn't any sauce or anything, because if there's any little thing, it can prevent the jar from sealing. So I've done that already. Got some lids in there. We're gonna fish them out with our tongs, and then put them on, and then put some rings on the jars. Now again, I've got folks that like a spicier salsa, so I've got a blend of hot peppers here. And I've got 5 jars in the middle that we're going to make kind of extra spicy. Alright, so we've got our big pot over here filled with water. I'll turn the gas on here. Got our flame going, we'll put our pot on there. Put our lid on. Let that get hot. Alright, so our 16 pints of salsa are in the water bath canner. And the water's coming up to temp. It's pretty warm right now. I mean, it's uncomfortable when you stick your finger in there. So probably next 5-10 minutes it's going to start boiling, and then we're going to let this go for about 40-45 minutes.
So only about an hour.
Yeah, probably an hour altogether out here, and then we'll see if they all seal. Alright, so it's been about 45 minutes or so. We just pulled the 16 pints of salsa out of the water bath canner, so let's take a look. It's looking real yummy. A lot of the jars have already sealed. I keep hearing pops, which is a good thing. Once it's all cooled down, I'll remove the rings and we'll put this up into the pantry and have lots of yummy salsa there for ourselves and to share with friends and family. So I guess that's it for now. Until next time, happy gardening. Bye.